So here's the moment. Here's the moment we've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Mike Anderson from Collision Device is in the house. Mike and I shared a stage in Tennessee just last year. He heard about the success of last year's Positivity Summit, and he asked me what Ryan and I had in mind to take it to a whole nother level in 2026. My answer is here with us today. Give it up for Mike Anderson.
Woo! Next level. Welcome. I love it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Wow. We got this dude for the next 20 minutes. I wish it was hours, right? We're just gonna do like what we do with Mike. We're just gonna wind him up and let him go. So 2020. Yeah, look at that. He's got the Red Bull.
The Red Bull's in the house.
Yeah.
Look out.
Yeah. So, dude, last year was a crazy year, wasn't it, man? And affecting severity, total losses. You know, everybody's screaming about. But I hear that you have some interesting data that you want to share with us from last year. Tell us what was going on by the data instead of just, what we're hearing out there.
Yeah, well, first of all, man, let me just say thank you so much, Ryan and Dave. Look, I can't imagine all the hard work that you guys put on behind the scenes. And just a shout out to your team because they have been so amazing. And I apologize for any last minute stress from me. And man, wow, I see like 300, almost 400 people logged into this, man. So just kudos to you guys. And thanks for having me, man. I'm just really honored. So
we're honored.
Back to your question, you're like, what's the data I'm seeing, right? So we at Collision Device, we just wrapped up compiling all the data. Every year we show the data for the average severity, average body labor, frame labor, paint labor, mechanical labor hours by state. We just wrapped that up. And so we're ready to release that data. And that data is based on all insurance claims, not just DRP, but non-DRP data as well, versus a lot of times you see data from like CCC Mitchell, et cetera. It's just on DRP claims, right? And here's what's concerning to me, Dave and Ryan, is the average labor hours by state are dropping. They're going backwards.
That's what we're hearing too.
That's just not cool. And just to let you know, and I'm looking up here at another screen here real quick. Again, shout out to Rhode Island. Rhode Island has the highest severity in the United States of America. In 2025, their severity was $7,253. $7,253. And people say, Mike, why is their severity so much higher than everybody else? I'll tell you why, because they have the best laws in the United States of America. Rhode Island is the only state that has right to appraisal clause for both insureds and claimants. They have laws that say if the insurance company doesn't reinspect the vehicle with so many days, they automatically can fix the car. Right? They have a law that says that the consumer requested they get all OEM parts within the first 6 years. I mean, my God, why do they make it happen? Because while they may be the lowest state, they have the highest severity. Let's talk a little bit about mechanical and frame and body and paint labor hours. I'm really concerned. We know that every paint company has had price increases in the last year to 18 months. And we're anticipating 3 to 4 more paint material price increases this year. But here's the reality. Most shops, the way they get paid for materials, most are based off of a multiplier. Let me just tell you, I love you. I mean it, guys, but that multiplier is outdated. You got to start submitting invoices. And why is that? Well, I'm looking here at the data. New Jersey, your average paint labor hours dropped from 11.3 down to 11 hours. Let's look at Hawaii. God bless Hawaii, but their average paint labor hours is only 9 hours. Let's look at the state of Arkansas. Your paint labor hours dropped. Alaska, your paint labor hours dropped. Arizona, listen, 42 out of 50 states, their average paint labor hours per estimate dropped.
No kidding. Wow.
So at the end of the day, why? Because I think that people are not being trained properly to be good estimators. I think what happened is we're so used to like just pushing keys in and typing estimates in, and we're losing the ability of the old school estimators. Man, shout out to the old dogs, right? The OGs, right? Because they knew how to read the P pages. They knew how to write an estimate. And we're just getting spoiled by just clicking and typing. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to get back to understanding how to write a proper repair plan.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And Dave, you made me want to drink.
I love it. Hey, Mike. Tell me about this. This is one that's definitely got my attention. I've heard you talk about it too. Is this rise in customer pay, the self-pay era? Tell us what you're seeing there.
So I got to tell you right now, there's this new philosophy that I've adopted, Dave. And Dave, feel free to steal this, plagiarize it, because I stole it from somebody else, right? So I subscribe to this newsletter by this guy named Shelley Palmer. Shelly Palmer is really big in the AI world. He speaks at CES and other stuff. Check him out. Subscribe to his newsletter, Shelly Palmer. And Shelly Palmer did this article where he talked about this new feature on Amazon that's called Help Me Decide. Now, I'm going to ask everybody. I want to see if y'all are active. Type into the chat panel, Help Me Decide. Right? Dave and Ryan, come on, say it with me, y'all.
Help me decide.
Help me decide, right?
Here it comes.
He was talking about how Amazon is this feature that AI helps people to decide what they should buy. So I thought about that and I said, you know what? In the collision repair industry, Ryan, we need to take the approach with consumers when they reach out to us. Not just, are you going through insurance? You file an insurance claim. What we need to say is, Mrs. Jones, are you thinking about going through insurance? Or are you thinking about paying out of pocket? And would you like me to, ready, Dave?
Help me decide.
Help me decide, right? And what we need to do is position ourselves as someone that's going to educate the consumer, right? Mm-hmm. To help them to decide whether they should file an insurance claim. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to give a shout out right now. Shout out to Dan Massanimi at Autotech. I think they're on your webinar right now because Dan challenged me on this, right? He said, well, Mike, we're doing a disservice to the customer if we try to tell them to go through insurance. But here's the thing, right? But here's the thing. I think we have to educate consumers and let them make the decision, right? So let's first of all talk customer pay, Ryan. First of all, we had Lending Tree. Right, mm-hmm. Lending Tree published an article. Repair Driven News also published an article that said 40% of consumers are wanting to pay out of pocket and not go through insurance. Kyle at CCC, smoking hot dude. If you can ever get him on your show, you need to get Kyle from CCC on there. I love that guy. But what Kyle said, CCC data was showing that our average customer pay was about 25% of the RO count. Now again, that's 25% of the RO count, not of sales dollars.
Sure.
Key thing you need to know the difference on, right? I will tell you in my own clients, we're seeing roughly around 19 to 25% of customers are paying out of pocket. Now, some people challenge me and say, well, if those shops were writing really good estimates, then there's no way customers pay out of pocket. I call BS on that, right? Why is that, right? And you know, Mike Jones, BS is belief system, baby. Belief system, right? So at the end of the day, I'll use Tim Papp as an example. Shout out to Tim Papp and Papp Auto Body. By the way, he is one of your biggest fans, Dave. Tim Papp loves you, bro. He is one of your biggest fans. And let me just tell you what, Tim Papp, his average customer pay ticket is above $7,800. So you got to remember this. Consumers, they're concerned with filing an insurance claim because of fear of their premiums going up. Most people are carrying higher deductibles today, $1,000. People are worried about losing their accident forgiveness, right? So, Brian, answer to your question, customer pay. Listen, if your customer pay is below 19% of your RO count, you are scaring customers away. You're scaring customers away. I did a Google search, Dave, and I was checking on this shop, right? And they had a Google where a customer gave them a 1-star review, and it said, this shop may very well do good work, but when I went in there, all they wanted to do was talk about insurance. So I felt they didn't want to even deal with my customer pay. So when somebody calls and we say, are you going through insurance or did you file an insurance claim? What that consumer hears is this person only does insurance work. They don't do customer pay. And we've got to change the conversation that our front office staff is having with consumers. And if your customer pay is less than 19%, I'm telling you now, you're scaring people off. You need to retrain your office staff.
Amen. I agree totally, and I think Ryan would too. We're seeing 30. I've even had reports as much as 40% of customer pay in some markets. We just saw somebody come into the chat, type in, we're seeing $2,500 deductibles all day long.
Yeah, that was Climbers. Absolutely. Yeah, that's Absolutely. Out in California. It's crazy. Yeah, and that's where that customer pay number, we've seen that 40 percentile out on the West Coast.
I'm going to tell you, I think you're going to continue to see that decline. I really, really, really do.
Wow, that's crazy.
So here's what else I'm going to tell you. I think that a lot of car manufacturers, they were holding off on passing off the tariff cost to say the dealer or the end user. But I think most of the OEMs now have come to the conclusion and said, you know what, we're going to have to pass that along. So I think you're going to see some new car prices go up. And we're seeing also people are financing cars for 7, 8, even some cars at 10 years, right? But as you see the price of new cars go up, I think there's a lot of people that are going to invest in fixing up their existing vehicle versus buying a new car, which presents more customer pay.
Agreed.
Yeah. Dude, let's shift gears for a minute. Again, I'd love to talk to Mike all day, but the artificial intelligence, we've been talking about that all day on the summit here. What's your perspective on that, and how can we lean into it, or maybe even use it to take advantage of this rise in customer pay? Is there a connection there?
Absolutely. So, first of all, I'm going to quote Mark Venture, great friend of mine. Ryan, Mark, Dave,
Yep.
Mark, right? And one of the things
Yep.
Mark Venture said one time from CCC was, he said, remember when sometimes a software product gets launched, whether it's Ryan's software product, your product, Dave, or, ABC software product, whenever it's launched, it's the worst it will ever be. So it can only get better. And I think a lot of times in our industry, when we see a new software product, we expect it to be perfect right out the gate. And I think what we have to do is not judge software for how it's launched out of the gate, but judge it based off of the potential of what it could be in the future. So do I think AI can write an accurate estimate today? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But do I think that as it gets smarter, it can lend the opportunity to do that? Absolutely. Now, there's people that hate on me, just like, we all got our haters on social media, right? There's people
we do.
Amen, brother, right? Amen.
Amen.
But at the end of the day, there's people that will say, you shouldn't use AI to write an estimate. But here's what I will say. In today's world, that insurance, if you're dependent on insurance work, right, that water fountain is dried up, right? So today, you're fighting for every job. And response time matters. It's all about who can get to that customer quicker. Now, we know that more than 50% of all accidents occur outside of normal business hours when we're closed. So when that consumer has an accident, they're stressed out. They have negative emotions. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to make a decision as soon as possible what I want to do. That's where AI, that's where I believe in like an instant estimate just to help them to make a decision. Now,
it's a triage tool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, is that AI estimate perfect? No, it's not. But I will also tell you, and I will tell you, I gotta credit Ryan Taylor for teaching me this, right? I will tell you that I believe that the new work source is dealership service drives. 1,000%. Now, here's the deal. Let's say an average GM dealership runs 100 cars a day through the service lane. Seriously, about 100 cars a day. But one person can only write 8 to 10 estimates a day. Let's say you capture 20% of that. That's 2 cars a day. But if I can use AI or like one of these arches, you got Tractable with Luma, you got Kinetic, you got Baywatch, you got UVI. If I could put an arch in there with AI that can look at all 100 cars a day and I capture 20% or even 10%, that's 10 cars a day. Now, is AI amen, brother. Amen. Somebody's good, more money's better, and too much is just right. So now, mama, right? At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal, right? That AI can help to identify and triage. Here's the 20 jobs that probably AI says the highest estimate. That's the customers I should reach out to. And I am telling you, that is the future to capture more work. Now, with AI, there's cautions. I love AI. I'm using it to write songs all the time, Dave. You know that, right?
I know. I've heard it. Pretty good.
Amen, brother. But at the end of the day, here's the deal. I see a lot of shops that are taking and using like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, etc., to analyze the insurance estimate and their estimate to figure out the differences. You got to make sure you protect your customers' privacy because that stuff can end up there on the internet, right? Also, if you're going to use AI for something, fact check it. I always tell AI, please give me your source for that. So I could go on and on about AI. I think it's awesome. I think AI is going to have a future. I absolutely believe that in the next 2 years, AI will be able to start giving us OEM repair procedures, and I think the future is real. However, I will say this. When somebody's in an accident, it's a traumatic, stressful event. They have negative emotions. Do they want to speak to AI immediately after an accident? Probably not. And I think this is where insurance companies are failing. Insurance companies are trying to replace human empathy with agentic AI, and I do not think that's the case. Now, when they call us, it's a little bit different. They're a little bit after the emotion, but not for insurance companies. Bam, go from there, baby.
Oh, that's some smoking hot stuff. All right, Mike, we got like 5 minutes, 45 seconds left. Talk to us about the things that have got you excited for 2026 and what your advice is to shops to focus on for this coming year.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Things get me excited or things that get me pissed off?
Let's go with excited and a little pissed off.
All right, excuse my language. First of all, what ticks me off is shops not doing safe and proper repairs. People not doing safety inspections. They're not taking and removing steering columns and measuring them after an accident. People that are not inspecting the customer's seatbelt or putting on their 3/10 to. I was on a call with a shop yesterday. They're saying, "Yeah, we charge 5/10 on every estimate inspect seatbelts." Well, you suck because you ain't doing it right? Because you do that. So, not doing safety inspections. Number 2, what else is really upsetting me in the industry is the lack of knowledge for the people that are writing repair plans. We have got to up our game, and we've got to dig into the OEM repair procedures. My saying, Dave and Ryan, has always been, learn to research, research to learn. Learn to use the OEM website, and then use the OEM website to learn how to fix the car properly. Now, as far as what excites me, here's what I'm going to tell you. The majority of my private clients are non-DRPs. I am not anti-insurance. I am not anti-DRP. I said the majority of my clients, like 70%, 30% are DRPs, right? And I do consulting for some insurance companies. But I will tell you, the majority of my clients, their sales were either flat or up last year. And you know why? Because they weren't dependent on the workflow from the insurance companies. What they were dependent on was the marketing strategies they put in place, whether through your company or Ryan's company or somebody else. They had built relationships with dealerships, and they had built relationships in their local community. And I can tell you right now that it is not a doom and gloom business. It is not. Now, is it a harder business? Yeah. We got spoiled coming out of COVID, where we became salespeople, and we became order takers versus salespeople. So what's got me excited? Here's what I think is exciting. I think that those that have the eye of the tiger, those that ignite excellence, those are dedicated to an extraordinary customer experience, to protecting the consumer, to those that are consumer advocates, will not only thrive and survive, but they'll kick some butt in 2026. I think it's a great industry, but here's the other thing I'll say you got to remember who your customer is, and it's the customer, the vehicle owner, not the insurance company.
It's easy to get that conflated. It's easy to get that mixed up for a lot of people. I'm guilty of it myself, right? Thinking that the customer was the insurance company, and man, did I ever learn that lesson the hard way.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll throw out here, because I know you're short on time, is everybody knows my story. What's my why? Somebody did not pack my dad's parachute properly in the military. His parachute didn't deploy, and my dad became a disabled vet during Vietnam. Remember, every time you fix a car, ladies and gentlemen, you're packing that customer's parachute. Do the right thing.
Wow. Yes. the chat is blowing up. People are loving this stuff, Mike. All right. So give us a positive message to launch us into 2026. What do you got?
My positive message is this: ignite excellence. Ignite excellence in every single thing you do. Ignite excellence in the customer experience. Wow, that customer. White glove, concierge service. Ignite excellence in your repair plan. Get your techs paid for everything they do, but also do everything that it takes to fix the car safely and properly. Ignite excellence in your accounting department. Ignite excellence in your culture. Make sure people love working for you. Listen, here's the deal. I will challenge you as an owner. If your shop was a sports team, would they want your name on the back of their jersey?
There you go. That's very cool. It's kind of like what Bo Easton said earlier. Yeah. Be the best and don't be ashamed of it.
When you say, Mike, when you say ignite, it's you starting others on fire. That's what ignite means, right?
Absolutely. Ignite. Yeah, ignite. Ignite. Light a match to something. Start a fire. Create an explosion. Ignite it. And you be the igniter, right? You be the igniter, right? You be the igniter in your industry. There's nobody on a white horse, a white hat going to come through in your town to save you. That person in a white horse, a white hat is you. Join your association. Get involved in legislation. Again, protect the consumer and their rights. Ignite excellence in your local market.
What is one or two high leverage things that people can do? What actions can they take now to ignite or to move forward?
I think they focus on culture, because if you have happy people, you will have happy customers. If you're and back your people and support your people, right? Like if they're trying to do the right thing and a carrier wants to push back against them, support them, right? Give your people the support. Give your people the time to write a good repair plan. So culture, treat your people with respect.
That's huge. I love it. Man alive, Mike, I can't tell you how thankful we are to have you on the summit with us today. Man, it just truly, truly inspirational. Every day you wake up and piss excellence. So we appreciate that.
He does. And when I ran into him here in Tennessee, he says, what's one thing that could elevate the Positivity Summit? I said, I'm looking at it right
hot
now.
Diggity dog, I tell you.
I'm making you join us this year, man. Mike, so grateful for you, brother.
Love you guys. Appreciate you. Shout out to everybody, man. Love you. And shout out to Erica for all the work behind the scenes.
I sure will. We got a great team here.
Take care, everybody.
Love it. All right. Hey, guess what? Speaking of, that's a hard act to follow, but we got